All right, you sick fucks, ready to get your minds blown. Strap in, because we're going deep on some shit you probably never gave a rat's ass about. The Russian flag. Yeah, those three stripes everybody's freaking out about. Well, guess what? It's way more fucked up than you think. We dug through a mountain of articles and Wikipedia crap, gotta keep it real. And let me tell you, this shit's wild. We're about to uncover some seriously messed up history. From those batshit crazy czars to the Soviets. And whatever the hell's happening over there right now, get ready for some serious knowledge bombs.
It's a wild ride, that's for sure. This simple-looking flag's been tangled up in some of Russia's craziest moments.
Okay, enough with the bullshit. Where the hell did this flag even come from? Who the fuck dreamed up the whole white, blue, and red thing? Was it some drunk asshole in a back alley? Or did it actually have some meaning, besides pissing off half the world?
Well, the first we hear about a Russian flag is way back in 1668. Tsar Alexis I was running the show. They were building Russia's first real warship, the frigate Oriole. Badass name, right? And they needed a flag for it. Seems obvious, but apparently it wasn't for them.
Those vodka-soaked Russians, always late to the party. Wait, are you telling me the mighty Russian flag is just a ripoff, like they stole it from some other country?
That's where it gets interesting. There are a couple theories, and both point to the Dutch Republic, the Netherlands. Back then, they were all about that red, white, and blue tricolor. Some people think the guy in charge of building the ship, this Dutch engineer named Butler, just copied his own country's design, because it was the easiest thing to do.
Makes sense. Lazy engineer solution.
Yeah.
But what's the other theory? Don't leave us hanging.
The other theory involves Peter the Great, the Tsar who was obsessed with everything Western Europe was doing. Think of him as Russia's original wannabe Eurotrash. In the 1690s, he was hanging out in Arkhangelsk, checking out their shipyards. He was like a kid in a candy store when he saw a Dutch frigate, with its red, white, and blue flag flying. The story goes, he was so impressed, he decided Russia needed a fancy-ass flag, too.
So Peter the Great, the guy who practically dragged Russia into the modern world, kicking and screaming, is also the one who gave them their flag. Figures. Did he just steal the Dutch design straight out?
Not exactly. He liked the colors, but rearranged them into the order we see today. White on top, blue in the middle, and red at the bottom. So yeah, kind of a ripoff, but with a Russian twist, I guess.
Hold on. You said the first mention of a Russian flag was in 1668. But Peter the Great didn't get his flag boner until the 1690s. What the hell's up with that?
Yeah, you caught that. Good for you. That's where it gets really interesting. There's this Dutch flag book from 1695, just a year after Peter's little European field trip. And it actually shows the Russian tricolor. But here's the kicker. It's got a double-headed eagle on it.
A double-headed eagle, like the symbol of Russia. Are you telling me this tricolor bullshit was around before Peter the Great got all excited about Dutch flags?
Seems like it. This little flag book throws a wrench into the whole damn timeline. It suggests that maybe the Russian tricolor was already a thing, at least in some form, before Peter the Great made it official.
This is some real historical detective shit, huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got early mentions of this flag, some shady Dutch connections, and Peter the Great's weird obsession with flags. What about all those other Russian flags we see in history books? There was one with, like, a bunch of black and yellow, right?
Yeah, that's a whole other story. For a while, Russia was rocking a black, yellow, and white tricolor. Tsar Alexander II made it the official national flag in 1858, which is, like, way after Peter the Great's tricolor had been around for a good while. But then, in 1896, Tsar Nicholas II decides to switch back to the white, blue, red.
Wait, what? These guys were switching flags like they were changing their underwear. Why the hell did they go back to the original one after all that?
It's a good question, and historians aren't totally sure why they went back and forth like that. Some think it was all about symbolism and trying to figure out their national identity. The black, yellow, white flag came from the colors of the Romanov dynasty, the ruling family at the time. But the white, blue, red had deeper historical roots. Maybe it felt more, I don't know, Russian to them.
So basically, even those czar assholes couldn't agree on what their damn flag should look like. Talk about a national identity crisis. All right, so we've got two competing tricolors, some symbolic bullshit, and a whole lot of confusion. I'm guessing things didn't get any simpler after those commies came in and blew everything up, right?
You could say that. The revolution throws the whole flag situation into chaos. You know what happens when you get a bunch of pissed-off revolutionaries running around? Nothing stays the same for very long.
Yeah, those revolutionaries, they weren't exactly known for their love of tradition. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks basically said, screw the Tsar's flag, and they tossed the white, blue, red tricolor right in the trash.
Those commie bastards weren't big on sentimentality, were they? So what the hell did they replace it with? Some hardcore communist design, with a hammer and sickle on a blood-red background.
Pretty close. They went through a few different flags before settling on that classic hammer and sickle design. The first one was a plain red banner, for all that proletariat blood and all, with the words Russian Socialist Federative Soviet Republic plastered on it in gold letters.
Jesus, what a mouthful. How long did that eyesore last? It's not long. In 1918, they tried to spice things up a bit by adding a gold border around those ridiculously long words. They even made the lettering all fancy and Slavic looking. But even that wasn't communist enough for them, I guess. A few years later, they finally unveiled the big one, the red flag with the hammer and sickle and the 5-pointed star. That became the symbol of the Soviet Union for the next 70 years.
So the tricolor was dead and buried. Nobody was stupid enough to wave that shit around under the Soviets, right?
Not exactly. Even though it was banned, the tricolor didn't disappear completely. It actually became a symbol of resistance for some groups. During the Russian Civil War, the White Army, the guys fighting against the Bolsheviks, used the tricolor as their flag. They saw it as a symbol of the old Russia, the one they were trying to save from the communist takeover.
So the flag became a pawn in a bloody power struggle. Talk about being caught in the crossfire. What about after the Civil War? Did the tricolor just fade away?
It kind of went into exile. Russian emigres, those who fled Russia after the revolution, kept the tricolor alive in their communities around the world. For them, it was a powerful symbol of their homeland, the Russia they had lost. It represented a connection to their history, their culture, their identity, everything those commie bastards were trying to destroy.
So the flag was kept alive by the people who missed the good old days of the czars. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is. But even inside the Soviet Union, the tricolor didn't completely vanish. It would pop up in historical films and documentaries, usually as a reminder of the bad old days before the glorious revolution. But that exposure kept it in people's minds, whether the Soviets liked it or not.
So even under those communist censors, the tricolor managed to slip through the cracks. It's like a cockroach. You can't kill the damn thing. But how the hell did it make a comeback? When did the Soviet Union finally say, okay, fine, you can have your precious flag back?
Well, it wasn't exactly a peaceful handover. It all went down in 1991 during the August coup. A bunch of hardline communists tried to grab power from Gorbachev. That blew up in their faces. And in the aftermath, the Russian SFSR, the Russian Republic within the Soviet Union, decided to ditch the Soviet flag and bring back the tricolor. It was a big fuck you to the Soviets and a symbol of a new era for Russia.
So the flag's comeback was tied to one of the most chaotic moments in Russian history. Figures. But was everyone happy about it? I mean, weren't there people who still saw that tricolor as a symbol of the Tsar and all that oppressive bullshit?
Of course. History is messy, and symbols can mean different things to different people. For some, the tricolor was a symbol of liberation, a fresh start for Russia. But for others, it represented going back to the past, which wasn't exactly a picnic for everyone, especially if you weren't a czar or some rich asshole. Bringing back the tricolor was a controversial move, a reminder that even when people are supposed to be united, there are always different perspectives and interpretations.
Yeah, history is basically just one big argument about what shit means, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the tricolor's back, but it's still got all this baggage from the past. So what does this flag really mean today? Is it just a symbol of Russia, or is there something more to it?
That's a great question. It's not just a piece of cloth. This flag represents a whole lot of history, both good and bad.
So what you're saying is, this flag is like a giant mood ring for all of Russia.
Kinda. But officially, the Russian government has a pretty straightforward bullshit interpretation of the colors. White represents nobility and frankness. Like some knight in shining armor always telling the truth. Blue stands for faithfulness, honesty, all that goody two-shoes crap. And red, of course, is for courage, generosity, and love, because nothing says love like a splash of blood red, right?
Yeah, those interpretations sound like something you'd find on a Hallmark card. Come on, there's got to be some juicier unofficial meanings floating around out there. Spill the tea, Professor.
Okay. There's this less official but pretty popular interpretation that ties the colors to different parts of Russia. Red represents Great Russia, the heartland of the country. White symbolizes White Russia, which is basically Belarus these days. And blue stands for Little Russia, which is, well, a bit more complicated.
Let's cut the crap. Little Russia is Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
And given the whole clusterfuck going on over there, that interpretation's got to be causing some serious tension, wouldn't you say?
You could say that. The whole Little Russia thing is a loaded term. especially with Russia acting like a rabid bear in Ukraine. It's been used to justify their territorial claims and basically try to erase Ukraine's independence. So yeah, that blue stripe has become pretty damn controversial lately.
So even in the 21st century, this flag can't escape its fucked up past. It's like a never-ending soap opera full of drama and bullshit.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Exactly. It shows us that national symbols are never really neutral. They're always being reinterpreted and twisted around to fit whatever narrative is going on. That's what makes studying flags so fascinating. They're like looking into the soul of a country, warts and all.
All right, so we've gone from drunken sailors and Peter the Great's flag boner to Soviet crackdowns and modern-day controversies. It's been a wild ride. But as always, we got to leave you magnificent bastards with something to think about. So here's the question. What the hell do you think the Russian flag will represent 100 years from now? Will it still be a symbol of power and controversy? Or will it morph into something completely different? Who knows? Maybe it'll end up on Mars, planted by some badass Russian cosmonaut. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure. The Russian flag will always be a reminder of Russia's complicated and often contradictory history.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that, my friends, is something worth pondering. All right, you beautiful degenerates, that's it for this deep dive. We've explored the origins, the symbolism, the controversies. Hell, we even psychoanalyzed the damn thing. So next time you see those three stripes flapping in the wind, remember, there's a whole lot more to it than meets the eye. Stay curious, stay informed, and as always, keep your minds open to all the fucked up beauty this world has to offer. Peace out.